Hi, and welcome back to the Potato Museum show. This is going with Meredith and Tom. This is going to be the biggest emphasis ever on baked potatoes, so stay with us.
Well, we're going to do other shows on baked potatoes, but
No!
maybe not one about the great big baked potato.
Okay, all right.
This was these great big baked potatoes were featured on the dining cars of the Northern Pacific Railroad for about the first 50 years of the 20th century.
And where did that railroad run?
So it ran from St. Paul, Minnesota, all the way to Seattle on the West Coast, and it passed through Yellowstone National Park and all these other great monuments. And it was the way to travel. If you wanted to go across the northern, you had to get across the northern part of the U.S. You took this this railroad. Now, so the story of the great, as the story goes, Hazen Titus, who's on the left there, was in charge of the Northern Pacific Railway's dining car operations. As the story goes, he overheard some Washington state farmers complaining that they couldn't sell the really big potatoes they were growing, so they fed them to hogs instead.
Oh, no!
Yeah, these 3 to 5 pound potatoes were considered too big and inedible.
Damn right.
With tough, rough skins. You can see them on the right there.
And there they are.
Titus arranged to buy the farmers'
Yeah.
netted gems, as they were called, and his staff learned to slow bake and feature them in the dining car menu starting in 1909. They were an instant success.
Incredible. Look at this cartoon. Hey, go away. Yous kids can't go to the city and work for the Northern Pacific Railroad. You've got to grow up first. They only serve the great big baked potatoes. But Mommy, Daddy, oh. He's being pretty tough. Look at this little monkey. Wow.
Look at the size of that plate. Look
that
at the size
was 1930.
Look at the size of the potato that we're sewing. And then this very kid-friendly little giveaway.
Aboard again, the great big baked potato.
So here, still even into 1962, when this railroad had merged with the with the other Northern Pacific, I think it was, and Great Northern, some other railroad, they were still serving some pretty big potatoes. In 1915, by the way, 2 million potatoes, 2 million potatoes were grown for the railroad in Washington, Idaho, Montana, and Alaska. Each potato had to be over 2 pounds. Look at this one.
1915, you're saying?
Yeah, by 1915.
Look at the little baby going, goo, goo.
Look, see, and it's looks like the one.
Paul, it looks just like the one we had on the Northern Pacific train. The time we went to the North Pacific coast.
There you go.
It certainly looks good, Ma.
So this is a photo that was taken in 1915, that period when they had 2 million potatoes were being sold. And the workforce was largely African Americans, and this caption down here says, "A few of our boys," that's how blacks were referred to, black men were those days, "who smile with Nile and serve great big baked potatoes every mile." And look at this huge potato that they've got on some sort of a parade.
What if you didn't like potato? Could you order something else?
Well, there was a huge menu. Yeah, there was a huge menu. I don't know if it was spaghetti. It was a huge menu. So these boys, or black African American men, had great jobs, but they were still belittled with that term, which was horrible. But they see the ceremony that they would come walking out in this little parade form, carrying these baked potatoes.
But wait a minute, they weren't baked on the train?
Yeah, they were, but this was just a ceremonial stuff.
Just a promo.
A promo, and then they made this promotional item, the ceramic,
dude.
Yeah, server.
He doesn't have any hands. Oh well.
So the huge baked potatoes were also served in. Let's go back to that. They were served all sorts of ways, and they had lots of promotional items. So look, you have this letter opener when stationery featured.
Oh, there it is. I didn't see that. Sorry.
This is remarkable. This is we don't have this in our collection, but it's a inkwell. You would lift up the potato, and you have two different inks. And if you have an inkwell, you're going to have a pen, right?
And if you have a pen, you're going to need a
You're gonna need a
A
blotter.
blotter for blotting, and there's my mother's actual
Yeah,
blotting.
blotting of the
Maybe.
the ink so that it would quickly dry.
Are we sick of the great potatoes
You
yet?
could get to be a booster if you rode on the railroad, Northern Pacific Railroad, and did this. And look at this medallion. You could be, shows that you're in good standing. Baked potato booster club.
Good God.
Is that 1916? I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then there's buttons and watch fobs and other badges.
But no hats, T-shirts,
No,
bags.
in those days, that kind of things, which is common merchandise nowadays, was
merch. We call it merch now.
There was a song sheet, special song. One of the lyrics was, "'Twas laying on a platter, sure something just immense, served with a spoon and butter, and it only cost 10 cents."
Wow,
Look in those days. Look at the banner, root of the great big baked potato.
Cute little... Oh, whoops.
So when an addition was built for the Northern Pacific Seattle Commissary in 1914, a reporter said, quote, "A large trademark in the shape of a baked potato, 40 feet long and 18 feet in diameter, surmounts the roof. The potato is electric lighted."
Oh my God!
Wow, this is 1914. Electric lighted, and its eyes through the electric mechanism are made to wink constantly.
I think we've had enough, haven't we?
Oh,
At this
we got
topic?
a little bit more. A cube of butter thrust into its split top glows intermittently. Now, we don't know how long this lasted, but what a sight that would have been in Seattle in those days.
Oh, my lordy.
And this company had their own dairy and poultry farms, and they were commissioning all these farmers to grow these potatoes. So they also got famous celebrities or influencers to promote this. This is Lillian Russell, was a huge star back in the 1910s, 20s, 30s. And there she is, Lillian Russell, and a few of the other great big potatoes.
She must have loved standing there
a
being
big,
photographed with potatoes.
well, she made money, right?
True, probably.
And a big potato in those days was a reference to an important person. Okay. Yeah. So Harvey Wiley was an American chemist who was this guy who started the Pure Food and Drug Act of 1906. He also started the Good Housekeeping Institute.
But the most important thing, he was the first commissioner of the United States Food and Drug Administration.
This man,
what a guy.
He worked to get pure foods and all these adulterated foods out of the marketplace. He's an important person. You can see the stamp.
Did he eat the potatoes?
So he's standing next to Hazen Titus. Here he is. And Hazen Titus got Dr. Wiley to endorse
there
the
it
potatoes.
is. Dr. Harvey Wiley says eat potatoes.
Yeah, he says, "You have one of the best illustrations of what can be done in feeding people along the right lines with the right kind of food in the dining car service of the Northern Pacific Railroad." What an endorsement. "The food served and its preparation should be a model for every railroad and hotel in America. Much of the food they serve comes from their own model farms, and the way it is prepared should be copied by others who serve the public with food that is healthful."
Does Pete Buttigieg know about this?
And there you go. I don't know if he knows about it, but what a great story. And it's all about the great
That's more baked potatoes than anybody could ever possibly.
If you like these shows, subscribe, send us a note, a question. We're happy to
comments, whatnot.
All that. See you again some next time.
Go bake a potato.
All right.
Okay? Bye.